It's a victory to the SLPP. We thought we'd find out from one of the other mainstream parties what on earth happened to them and to try and analyze what went wrong for them. And to no better guess than that, actually, is a former governor of 2 provinces at various times and a President's Council, and not too unfamiliar with Newsline. He's right here, Mr. Maitri Gunratna. Very good evening to you, Maitri.
Good evening, Faraz.
I was going to ask you another question, but looking at your shirt, I was going to say to you, have you swapped already?
Like you with your mask.
Now then, I'll get back to my original question then. Very simple. What happened?
Faraz, it was a total debacle, I would say, politically, where no one expected the government to get a close 2/3. I don't think even they expected it. They may have been around 120, but the main reason for this debacle was that the main opposition party was split into 2.
Right.
That was the UNP and the SJB, led by Mr. Sajid Premadasa.
Yeah.
After the election, I was able to do a bit of a post-mortem as to why we were lost in this manner. And to my surprise, I found that many UNPs had not gone to vote. Traditional UNPs had not gone to vote, and I would say the percentage is anything between 15 to 17 or 18%. And if you add that to the total vote we have polled, we would have come close to about 45-46%.
Right. Which is then not a bad performance at all.
It would have been quite a pleasing performance.
Yeah.
So basically, for us, divided we fall, united we stand.
Yeah.
The Pohotua, the SLPP was united.
Yeah.
Irrespective of whatever the differences they had with the SLFP, with the former President Sri Sena, all that, they stood united. Whereas the total opposition was divided, and I advocated this fact, I think, in the same show before the election, that all factors like the JVP, the SLF, the UNP, the SJB, all of them should have got together and formed one broad coalition. If that happened, it would have been a strong fight. So at least now, we need to give a good opposition to this 2/3 government which has got 2/3, almost a 2/3.
Yeah.
I mean, another 5-6 votes is not a problem for them.
Yeah.
So we need to give them a strong fight and be a good opposition. And one thing is for us, okay, this is not once, this is the second time this government has got almost a 2/3. In 2010, after President Rajapaksa won the war, the people bestowed him with a handsome majority in parliament, and he nearly got 2/3 majority in 2010. But and basically we thought that the person who had finished the war would do a yeoman service with that kind of majority in parliament and would sort out all the problems in the country after 2010. But to our surprise, within 3 months, 6 months after that, they went on a rampage, and all of them, started putting the hand into the kitty as if things were going out of fashion.
They became royal, didn't they?
And then they changed the constitution and all that. So that brought upon their collapse in 2015. Now, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa wanted this 2/3 majority, and he was of the opinion that without it he cannot function. So now he has got it. So it is time for him to. It's now the ball is in his court. He will have to perform, and within this almost 4.5 years, he will have to show that the country is going on the right path, because whatever said and done whatever political opinion we had, I personally was totally opposed to this two-thirds from the very inception.
Yeah.
From the day it rolled out of his lips that they were looking for a two-thirds majority, I was totally opposed to it. And anyway, our opposition has fallen in deaf ears. So therefore, he has got his day. He is the president of the country. He has to deliver. And I mean, if he can do it, I mean, we are happy as citizens of this country. Basically,
he made a statement, I think a couple of days ago, in which he says that he's the president for everybody, not just...
No, precisely.
You know, he's the president for the Muslims, the Sinhalese, for the Burghers, and for everybody in Sri Lanka.
So, for us, it all will depend on the cabinet which they are going to appoint now. They are going to appoint 26 members, and I went through the allocation of duties. All seems to be good. All seems to be good. But only thing is, whom are they going to appoint as ministers? They need to get new faces as ministers. Putting these same old faces, I don't think is going to change the...
This is the point I was going to make to you. One of the facts that have come out to light after when you look at the result is that a lot of bad eggs have fallen by the wayside. The voters left them out. And as far as UNP is concerned, it's almost as if the UNP voter, the traditional UNP voter, decided to do two things. One, not to vote, as you mentioned earlier. And secondly, they seem to have done the job of the working committee of the United National Party. Because for 26 years, they stood aside and let Mr. Wickremesinghe have his day. And this went on for 26 years, defeat after defeat after defeat after defeat. And this time round, they've took matters into their own hand and just voted the people they didn't want completely out. And even then, it's not entirely clear whether this is the end of the road for the political life. But that's the people's power. And clearly, if in 5 years, this government, having got what they wanted, even beyond their expectations, if they don't deliver, it appears that Sri Lanka has a voter base that is very dynamic and very proactive. So if they don't deliver, they'll get the marching orders.
Faraz, this is one occasion where a government can really deliver. And Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, I mean, if he uses his talents and whatever his ability, he used as defense secretary. He did many changes at that time, and he was dynamic. So I only hope that part of him comes into operation now.
Excepting, you know, when he was doing his job as a defense secretary, he had a job to do. He was devoid of politics and so on. He had a job to do. So he was given a task which he got on with, and he did all sorts of other things with the UDA and so on.
So for us, but even now, he has got a job to do.
He's got a job to do, but
he's the president of this country.
Yes, but he's got a lot of people who've got, shall we say, a colourful past.
But the point is, for us, he cannot go into the colourful past of the people who are behind him, because he has a serious job to do. And after COVID, this country has gone to the doldrums economically. So he cannot look from a coloured perspective or a coloured sunglasses where he's going to help a person or another person. He will have to do what is right and put this country on the right track with discipline, justice and all that. Because for us, I mean, let's face it, no one would like to come and invest in this country because all our systems have failed. So he has to put these systems right. And I feel he may be one person who can put it right with this mandate. There is no one to question him.
Do you think anyone will be trying to pull the wool over his eyes when, especially people, you know, whether we like it or not, there are people who have been elected who are far from being desirable?
That is the main thing for us. Now, if they are going to come and interfere and stall the forward march, then of course as a country we are doomed. So that is where Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the president, not being a politician, is another advantage.
Right.
Because if he was a politician, then he would have had to bow to those pressures. But since he is not a politician, and since he has come forward to do something which is good, I think this is a golden opportunity for this country to proceed and for us to go to the next stage.
Thank you very much for your questions by SMS on 0772 300 305. And let me ask you this question. It's being posed by somebody out there, viewer. But it is something that I have been asked, and it's being debated in the coffee rooms and tea rooms in town. And that is this: was the election fixed?
No, absolutely not. This was a totally free election. But I must say the election process, I'm talking about the election process, voting and counting, it was absolutely perfect. There is no issues with regard to that. But with regard to to run up to the election, using of the Samurdhi movement, using of the agriculture officers, using of government machinery, all that, of course, there was a total misuse of the Samurdhi movement, and all the Samurdhi officers were campaigning for candidates. I have lodged complaints with regard to these officers. So that happened abundantly, and I must say the election commission was not active enough. The election commissioner was not. They didn't take enough action. They took action against the opposition, but with regard to the government, I mean, even their posters for us.
Yes.
Their posters, you would find that their posters were all up on the walls, on the roadsides. Hardly any of their vehicles were arrested, nor did the posters come down. But opposition posters, I mean, there was nothing almost, and everything had come down. So therefore, I mean, when you are having an election and dealing with the Rajapaksas, okay, that you have to deal with that. I mean, that's a situation which anyway comes. So with regard to the election voting process for us, it was perfect. It was perfect. Only thing is for us, the ballot paper, having a hell of a lot of independent groups. Now, one thing we realized is in our ballot paper in the Badulla district, there were 12 independent groups. 12 independent groups after the telephone. So, and there were only 12 candidates.
Right.
So many of the voters had voted for a party and crossed three preferences to these independent groups,
even though they would have only had one.
Yeah. So because
so that explains a very high turnout of spoiled votes.
Yes. Because for some reason or other these guys file independent lists, which serves absolutely no purpose. So what we noticed is a lot of the independent groups, it goes as independent group 1, independent group 2 up to group 12. So there are those numbers, and we say, okay, our preference number is 11 or 10 or whatever. So what happens is they see these numbers, they think that that's the preference number, and they think
there's another matter here. This is from Shamindra Ferdinando from the Island newspaper, who says that President GR should be grateful for bond scams, the Geneva betrayal, storing paddy at Mattala, handing over of the East Container Terminal to India, etc. Do you think that President Gotabaya should be grateful for all those errors of judgment?
No, but with regard to the East Terminal to being handed over to India, I think that's this government which is trying to do that. This government is trying to do that.
Right.
handing over. So I don't know how economical it is going to be for the country.
Right.
Because for us, the port is an area where we're making a lot of money.
Indeed.
So if you just hand it over to India,
Yeah.
I mean, what is the return? I mean, our ports authority, it is already, we have got so many people working in the port, we will not be able to support it. And our cash cow, the port is a cash cow, one of the best ports. If we hand it over to India, I mean, we are going to lose millions of revenue for this country.
Yes, why can't we do it ourselves?
Precisely, that's what.
Indeed. And on that note, we'll go for a short break. Small message coming up. Don't go away. Don't go away from TV1. This, after all, is Newsline Live.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz, Shauketaly.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. We're in conversation with the former governor, Mr. Maitri Gunaratne. Maitri, what now for the United National Party? What is the way forward?
For us, the people have totally rejected the UNP, including the main leaders who contested this time.
Yeah.
Which is the sentiment of the people. But now I think it is time, because we cannot, as I told you before, we cannot be divided as the opposition.
But all the losers are fighting amongst themselves to take that one seat.
No, I know. I of course feel the party should move in now. I think Mr. Karuja Surya played a very important role. He stepped out of contesting, but he still remained in the UNP. So I feel if all of these people, if Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe is going to resign, or if he has already resigned, they should propose the name of a person like Mr. Karuja Surya as the leader of the UNP.
How about something a bit more fair, like choosing the person who got the most number of preferences but who didn't end up as in parliament?
I'm talking of the UNP, the way forward for the UNP.
Right.
Where Mr. Karuja Surya takes up the leadership of the UNP.
Oh, I see, the leadership. Not that single seat.
No, not the seat.
Okay.
Even the seat, I don't think it's a problem for us. I think it will be a fair thing, even if you give the seat to him.
Right.
And as the leader of the UNP, he can be the only nominee in Parliament.
Right.
And he will be able to, I think, bring some kind of reconciliation between the SJB and the UNP, and see that this both.
But does he have the strength to go across, to take on a character such as Ranil Wickremesinghe?
No, but if Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe has resigned, and if he's the leader, then he's
but
the captain.
But if he resigns, will he still be holding some form of official post within the UNP?
He will try to. But then if Mr. Karuja Surya is officially the leader of the UNP, he can bring about some kind of settlement.
And so what should they do?
No, what they can do is, without trying to give it to these other gentlemen who are fighting, who have lost their seats and who are fighting for the leadership, which one thing is they are not suitable.
Right.
I feel the only suitable person who is there and who has played a very neutral role in this whole game is Mr. Karuja Surya, in fairness to him. And I think all should go to him with regard to the leadership of the UNP and a reconciliation of both factors, where Mr. Sajid Premadasa, all of these people are brought together and made as one strong group which can oppose this government for us.
Do you think Mr. Jayasuriya should, as being the UNP side, should he be calling the other side, the breakaway, the SJB, to come in?
No, as a senior member of the party, and I mean, let's face it.
We've also got Imtiaz Baki Mark on the other side.
And let's face it, for us, I mean, the SJB is a branch of the UNP.
Yeah.
It's a branch of the UNP. It's what happened was during the last week, the UNP decided to go another way.
Yeah.
So on that footing, I think Mr. Karuja Surya will still command the respect, and he can speak to these people, speak to Mr. Sajid Premadasa and the rest. I think they still have respect for him, because whatever said and done, he played an independent role. There was no mudslinging during this election against the SJB by Mr. Karuja Surya.
But Mr. Wickremesinghe and his friends did all sorts of jolly things. They expelled these people from the party.
All that is correct. No, but what happens is, for us now, you can't think of those things.
So it's in the past.
Bygones should be bygones. he should sit together and think of it as a new thing, how we are going to combat this two-thirds government.
Yeah.
There's a government which has a two-thirds majority in parliament. It's no joke. As a democratic country, there has to be a strong opposition. So now all forces, even the JVP, all other members who have got 1 seat, 2 seats, all of them should be brought into one platform, one stage, and we should form a strong opposition, a viable opposition against this government.
And you've got 5 years in which to do it.
We've got 5 years. We have to start it right now. And I think with Mr. Karujayasuriya's seniority, he will be able to rally around all these people. And for that reason, for us, it will be useful that he be given that seat which is in Parliament, which the UNP has got.
Right.
He has got 1 seat. I think it will be useful for that purpose to give it to Mr. Karujayasuriya, because then no one can complain.
But the debacle is complete when the grand old party has been reduced to 1 bonus seat.
I know. That's a sad state of affairs. But well, for us, now, I mean, I'm not trying to brag about myself, but in 2010, it was in 2010 that I brought this to the notice of the leader, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Yeah.
And it was in 2004. It was in 2004 that the Pandita Ratna Commission report.
But he didn't do anything about that either.
He didn't do anything. The Pandita Ratna Commission report very clearly stated that if the leader does not change his ways as far back as 2004, it will lead to a catastrophe. Those are the words they have used.
So that catastrophe
has happened in 2020. So, well, now that has happened. Bygones be bygones. Start anew. Get Mr. Karujayasuriya to come in. Give him the
Will people like yourself return to the United National Party if that is the case?
Definitely, for us, there is no doubt about it. If all of these people are going to get together, and if you are going to form a viable opposition, we have no option but to get together.
But why Karujayasuriya? Why can't we just have Sajid Premadasa? Because he's shown his capability.
No, he has. No, I'm not that I'm saying that he has to, but the point is, for us, the two fractions are now, after this election, they are all, there is a lot of anger and animosity.
Isn't it time for Ranil Wickremesinghe to eat humble pie now?
I don't think he's going to do that for us, knowing the person. He's not the person who's going to relish eating humble pie. So I feel it's if he has resigned, give it to Mr. Karujayasuriya, who will be able to bring this back together. I think that's the only way out.
Do you fear that the United National Party, the SJB and so on will be so busy trying to regroup and trying to resolve these issues that there would not be any form of opposition?
No, that's what I'm saying for us. That's what I'm saying. As fast as possible, by the 20th of this month, when Parliament meets for the first time, they should resolve the problem. Mr. Karujayasuriya should be in the driving seat. He should be able to sort out all these issues and get the country ready, get the opposition ready to face this two-thirds government.
And that is the only way forward for the United National Party.
I would feel it for us. I think I have been a critic of Mr. Karujayasuriya.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, and the need of the hour is a person like that to come and resolve these issues.
But as a speaker, I too have described him as being one of the most partisan speakers.
Definitely. I have my issues with him. I have had my issues with him. But in this context, and he took a right decision, I think, without contesting from the UNP nor the SJB, staying away. So he's staying away from this whole election process, I think, has stood him well, and he can come in as the senior citizen or the elder brother or the patriarch of this whole thing and try to sort it out. And I think he owes it to the UNP.
Any bets on who the plum ministries will go to tomorrow?
For us, I'm also looking at it very anxiously.
Yeah.
I saw Professor Ranjit Bandara on TV about 2 days ago, 3 days ago, talking on the economy. I mean, he was very impressive. I mean, I hope a person like that can, and he's an economist, right? I hope a person like that can be brought in as finance minister.
You're going to have to hope for far more. There's no way I can say that. There's no way that Mahindra Rajapaksa is going to give up the finance ministry.
But the point is this.
But unfortunately, the news is coming up, so we're finished.
All I hope is if they can put some new faces, able guys to run the cabinet and take this country forward, all of us will be happy.
Wonderful, Maitri Gunaratne. Thank you very much. And it's over to the news straight away. And thank you for watching Newsline Live. Take care, good night, and God bless.
Thank you.